This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's 5 o'clock here on your Tuesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey, and here's what's making headlines on this May 12th. 2 people are dead. Another is in the hospital after a triple stabbing. New from overnight, we have the latest on this investigation that took place on the west side. As the pandemic continues, we're learning more about COVID-19, why one central Indiana woman wasn't able to confirm she had COVID-19 until 2 months after being really sick. And restaurants in most of Indiana are back open after restrictions were lifted on Monday. How a local sports bar handled their reopening and the precautions they're taking for their customers. But before we get to our top stories today, we need to get a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast. Todd Clausen is standing by with a chilly look at how we're starting off our Tuesday morning. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, Lauren, good morning. We're in the 30s all across central Indiana. As a result, there's a frost advisory that's in place. So what do you need to grab before you go as you walk out the door here this morning? Well, you definitely need to have at least a medium weight jacket as these temperatures are very, very chilly. And today, we'll need the sunglasses. Yesterday, I was hopeful for a little bit of sunshine, and there were a few peaks here and there, but overall, the clouds definitely won out across the area. 35 in Bloomington right now, as well as Muncie. 37 in Indianapolis. We'll go into some of your hometowns here to the north. In Anderson and Marion, you're sitting at 32 degrees, so you're right at the freezing mark, and that's why that frost advisory is in place this morning for many counties here in central Indiana. Just a little bit of cloud cover out there. We will miss out on the rain. Thankfully, that is to our south and passing near the St. Louis area this morning, and that will continue to push down into Kentucky. So it's a dry day for us, and we'll kind of just toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day today. A little warmer, though, with the added sunshine, Lauren, with high temperatures right around 60 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a live look right now at traffic. This is I-465, a little west of Emerson Avenue. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. No crashes in this area to slow down your Tuesday commute. New from overnight, 2 people are dead. Another is in critical condition after a stabbing on Indy's west side. Police were called out to the Carriage House West apartments on West 10th Street just before 10 o'clock. When they arrived, they found 3 people stabbed in one of the apartments. A woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Another woman and a man were taken to the hospital. That man later died. Police say 2 witnesses were taken in for questioning. Investigators are still trying to find out what led up to this stabbing. The family of Drayshawn Reed is scheduled to speak out about his death later this morning. Reed was shot and killed Wednesday after he led officers on a police chase on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Officers say that Reed ran away and did not listen to commands, and he exchanged gunfire with officers. The incident was captured on Reed's Facebook Live, which is still being investigated. Reed's family will speak at the place he was killed at the intersection of 62nd and Michigan at 11:30. Demonstrations have been held there for several days now after the shooting, calling for justice. IMPD and Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hugg said we'll also hold a press conference about police reforms at 10:30 this morning. We're going to have the very latest on both of those press conferences for you on the RTV6 app. We are continuing to follow the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak. The death toll from the virus has now reached more than 1,400 in Indiana. The Indiana State Department of Health reports 32 new deaths and 511 new cases. More than 24,000 people have tested positive since this pandemic began. 7,500 of those are in Marion County. As researchers continue to study the coronavirus, we're learning more and more about it. And our Kelsey Anderson is joining us this morning with the story of a local woman who was so sick she had to be admitted to the hospital, but they couldn't confirm she had COVID-19 until she was fully recovered. Kelsey.
Jenny LeBaum spent 2 nights in the hospital with pneumonia. This was in early March, and she was tested for COVID-19. But those test results came back negative, and it wasn't until 7.5 weeks later when she got the antibody test that she realized she, in fact, did have the coronavirus. Her symptoms started out with chills, body aches, fatigue. She thought she had the flu, but after a swab, doctors confirmed it wasn't that. A week later, LeBaum went back to the doctor because her symptoms had gotten worse, and they said she had pneumonia and sent her home with an antibiotic. Eventually, she was admitted to the hospital where her biggest fear was catching the coronavirus. But they tested her for that, and again, those test results came back inconclusive. But her doctor still had a feeling it was more than just pneumonia.
And once the antibody test became available in Indiana, my doctor ordered it right away, and that came back in probably less than a day, and it was positive, which kind of was no surprise, but also still a shock because I was like, wow, I was really sick.
LaBombe tells me she feels guilty now that she knows she had the coronavirus and wasn't taking extra precautions. She's sending emails to anyone she was in contact with from the week before she was sick to a week after. Her husband and her 2 kids also took the antibody test, and to their surprise, their results came back negative. LaBombe tells me she does plan on donating plasma to help others fight off the virus. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. The time now is 5:06. Many restaurant owners in Indiana are taking their first steps on the path to normal this week, reopening their dining rooms with some restrictions. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning with how a Canby Sports Bar just outside of Marion County is welcoming customers back. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. And the owners of Heavy's Bar and Grill say the coronavirus pandemic almost took them out of business, and now they're counting on the community to help keep them afloat as they reopen their doors to patrons. And last night was the first night in nearly 2 months that they had customers inside. The staff following the governor's rules for stage 2 of reopening the economy and keeping dining room capacity at 50%. Each table measured to be exactly 6 feet apart. Employees are also wearing masks and gloves, even if the customers aren't. Staff is also continuing their to-go service, specifically their party packs, which is essentially an adult beverage kit. The owner says if it weren't for that carry-out item, the restaurant would have closed weeks ago.
Our sales have really kind of bumped up a little bit. Obviously, it's not what we're used to with not having customers in, but the party packs definitely kind of bumped us up on our sales and gave us some breathing room, if you want to call it that.
And the owner says if the closure would have continued out until July, their business likely would not have made it. And according to a survey by the National Restaurant Association, restaurants across the country reported about an 80% loss in sales in just the month of April. And here in Indiana, that's estimated to be about $920 million loss in sales. Again, that's just in the month of April. That doesn't include what was lost in March and the first couple weeks of May. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. The time right now is 5:08. Many businesses are still prohibited from opening across Indiana as the pandemic continues, and that includes campgrounds. Normally, KOA campgrounds in Greenfield is packed this time of year, but under the state's reopening plan, private campgrounds cannot open for 2 more weeks. The operations manager says nurses are allowed to stay at the site right now. She questions why the site was forced to close in the first place.
We really should have never closed. Hotels they have been open the whole entire time, but people can actually park their RV at a hotel, go stay at a hotel, and use someone else's amenities. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
At yesterday's briefing with the governor and other state officials, RTV6 asked why the decision was made to close campgrounds and to keep them closed through the coming weeks.
And when you talk about campgrounds where people are sleeping, then you've got, the facilities where people use the restroom and they shower and everything else, and the importance of being able to make sure that we have everything in place at those facilities so that we can protect individuals.
When campgrounds are allowed to open, KOA Corporate has provided a 37-page safety manual to its locations. The Indianapolis site plans on reopening May 24th. Steak and Shake is permanently closing more locations and says COVID-19 is to blame. The restaurant chain says that it's closed 57 of its restaurants nationwide during the first quarter of 2020. It's not clear how many of those locations are in Indiana. Its parent company says the coronavirus restrictions have hurt operations. And according to a financial report, company leaders say they cannot predict how the outbreak will alter future demand for their products. You can catch a spectacular sight over Indianapolis this afternoon, a flyover by the Blue Angels. The Navy's Blue Angels will be honoring healthcare workers, first responders, and other essential workers serving on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. It will take 11 minutes as they come into sight over Beech Grove at 2 o'clock before moving on to Claremont, Avon, downtown Lawrence, and one last pass through downtown. Looking forward to seeing that. And Todd, will we have decent weather for the Blue Angels to fly over today?
Yeah, I think they'll be just fine weather-wise. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies, but the cloud deck, or the ceiling that they like to call it, when you're dealing with aviation, is pretty high. So those Blue Angels should be good to go here throughout the day today. This morning, as you get going, you may want to grab that extra cup of coffee. Once again, this morning, as we are dealing with chilly temperatures, we are starting off in the 30s. A frost advisory is in place, but with mostly sunny skies to start and then turning partly cloudy throughout the morning, we'll see our temperatures climb into the 40s fairly quickly. And you notice the clouds that are out there breaking apart at this hour. And we'll go back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies here throughout the day today, but you don't have to worry about the rain. And with the added sunshine and the rather light winds throughout the day today, we're looking at highs that'll be generally, Lauren, right around 60 degrees. We do have 70s in the forecast and also the return of rain. They go together, unfortunately. More on that coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Health officials are working to learn more about a mysterious virus infecting more children. Coming up, the symptoms and why doctors say it could be connected to COVID-19. And a new stimulus bill is in the works in Washington. Still ahead, what we know about the government's latest effort to help the economy. Time right now is 5:11. Stick around. We'll be right back after this short break.
A special event tonight on ABC.
Welcome back. It is 5:14. The remains of a fallen Terre Haute soldier have been brought back to the United States. 23-year-old Sergeant Christopher Curry died in Erbil, Iraq last week from a non-combat related incident. His body arrived at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware yesterday. Curry was with the 25th Infantry Division supporting Operation Inherent Resolve. Officials have not released any more information about how he died, but they say COVID-19 is not suspected. We are learning more about a mysterious illness infecting more children. Officials say it's connected to COVID-19. ABC's Andrea Fujii has the latest.
A new fear amidst the coronavirus pandemic. More children now getting sick. Cases topping 100 in the country as this illness, believed to be related to COVID-19, spreads from coast to coast. In Detroit, 9-year-old Josie Paskvin had a high fever and red eyes off and on for a week.
She was gray and ashy, and she was very dazed and confused.
My tummy hurted and my throat was like dry.
All we could think about is her little heart and, what could happen.
Josie is now responding well to treatment. At least 3 deaths are linked to the illness called pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children ranging in age from 5 to a teenager. Doctors warn complications can arise after children have already developed antibodies to COVID-19. But the virus can trigger an overreaction from the immune system, causing inflammation, similar to Kawasaki disease. Symptoms include persistent fever, rash, abdominal pain, and vomiting.
It's a post-exposure inflammatory response, meaning the body has seen and been exposed to either a virus, maybe an environmental exposure in the past, and it's in its response to try to fight it off. It fights it off, but then the immune system inadvertently causes inflammation in blood vessels in the body.
At least 12 states and D.C. are now reporting cases. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said Monday there are 93 cases in New York alone. Kentucky also concerned.
We have a 10-year-old here in Kentucky on a ventilator due to COVID-19.
Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
It is 5:17. A new stimulus plan to help boost the U.S. economy is now in the works. Sources say House Democrats are putting the finishing touches on another massive bill that's likely to be unveiled today. The bill would kick off another stage in the debate over adding more money to the stimulus. Senate GOP leaders and the White House have so far resisted more stimulus, wanting to assess how the nearly $3 trillion in rescue programs are being implemented. At 5:17, let's toss things over to Todd right now for a check of our Tuesday forecast. Todd, what can we expect as we head out the door?
You know, it's not a bad day for us here, Lauren, across the area. It's a little chilly this morning, and that's why this frost advisory is in place across almost all of central Indiana, just a couple counties off to the southwest, not included, but everybody is dealing with the chill here this morning, from 34 in Richmond to 35 in Bloomington, 32 right at the freezing mark in Greencastle, and 34 in Tipton. You'll definitely need the jacket if you're walking out the door here this morning. There is no doubt about that, as we are dealing with these March-like temperatures once again this morning, and for the matter this afternoon as well, as we'll be slow to climb here temperature-wise, more than 60 degrees later on today. We will have some sunshine to start the day, though. You see these clouds starting to break apart already. That is the good news. We'll expand out, and thankfully we're going to miss out on that rainfall that is down to the south there in St. Louis over towards Springfield. That is going to bypass us, but we will get a little bit of the cloud cover from that during the course of the day today. So your Tuesday forecast, it's a pretty quiet one. It's just not a very warm one across the area. The warmth will come, though, pretty quickly here this morning as we jump from 37 degrees at 7 a.m. up into the low 50s already by 10 a.m. The problem is as the clouds start to build in throughout the course of the day, the temperatures kind of cap off right around 60 degrees for your high temperature. Then overnight tonight, not quite as cold. There'll be some 30s out there off to the east and to the north, but most of us tomorrow morning should be in the 40s. As a result, there will not be a frost advisory or a freeze warning in place from the National Weather Service to start off our Wednesday. The rest of your forecast tomorrow, not as cold, 43 in the morning, up to 63 in the afternoon as we toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies. But you really need to take advantage of tomorrow, because once we get through the week and into the Thursday, Friday time frame, look what happens on TrueCast. We'll start to build in some scattered showers across the area late during the day on Wednesday. They become more numerous throughout the day on a Thursday, and that'll start a pretty unsettled but pretty mild stretch of weather for us across the area, as we'll be dealing with rain potential for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. The trade-off, though, low temperatures in the 60s, high temperatures in the 70s. No days a complete washout, but Friday looks like the showers and storms potentially, Lauren, could be the most numerous across the area.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic right now as you're heading out on the roads. We'll be heading to work early this Tuesday morning. This is a look on the southwest side, I-465 and Man Road. You can see traffic is moving along just fine. No major crashes or issues to report around the metro area at this early hour. Well, thoroughbreds are returning to Churchill Downs as the track prepares to resume horse racing this weekend. The racetrack in Louisville, Kentucky opened its stables and backside operation on Monday. Close to 200 racehorses were brought back into that facility. Hundreds more are set to return later in the week. The first races will be held Saturday without spectators, only trainers and other necessary personnel at the racetrack. For now, only essential workers will be allowed into the stables and are subject to temperature checks. If you're planning to visit the Magic Kingdom this summer, mark your calendar for July. Disney World won't start taking reservations until then. Disney World has been closed since mid-March, and there's been no news on when it'll be back up and running. But the company says it's planned phased reopenings for all of its locations, rather. That will include everything from limiting the number of visitors and requiring masks to checking temperatures at the gate. Nacho fans, you're in for a special treat this Friday. Celebrity food personality Guy Fieri and actor Bill Murray will take part in what's been dubbed Nacho Average Showdown. With the help of their sons, they're going to go head-to-head and attempt to make the perfect nachos. The event will be streamed on the Food Network's Facebook page, and the goal is to raise money for restaurant workers impacted by COVID-19. Food Network host Carla Hall will MC this showdown, while basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal and actor Terry Crews will be the judges. Sounds pretty good. A New York mom is finding a clever way to keep herself busy during this pandemic. After the break, how she started re-illustrating popular children's books to depict the coronavirus changes. We'll be right back. On RTV6 News. Cloudy with a chance of panic hoarding. Llama Llama hasn't changed pajamas, and green eggs and wash your hands. Those are some clever twists on children's books one New York mom has begun to illustrate during this pandemic. Stephanie Trilling is normally a legal marketing attorney, but since the outbreak, she's been painting. She doesn't have any artistic training, but it's kept her busy and has helped her to explain the disease to her small children.
I started painting cartoonified coronaviruses. My daughter had been talking a lot about what coronavirus meant to her, what it meant for her, the life that she knew at that time.
Well, she paints every night, sharing her latest illustrated puns on her Instagram. Trilling says she wants to sell the paintings and donate the proceeds to some nonprofit organizations. For not having a lot of training, Todd, she does pretty good work. All right, though.
Yeah, It looks spectacular.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right,
I'm kind of catching on a little bit of a delay here on the TV.
I know,
I see it a little bit later than you, but looks good. Not so good in the forecast. I mean, it's going to get a little bit better here today as we work our way throughout the course of the day. Temperatures eventually will be climbing up into the 60s, but this morning we are in the 30s. You're going to have to bundle up as you walk out the door, and then eventually highs here once again will be topping off anywhere from a 62 in Columbus, about 63 in Lafayette, 60 in Peru. We'll toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies, but the wind's not an issue today. So a little more sunshine than yesterday, Lauren, and temperatures today, they should be topping off about 10 degrees warmer than we were Monday afternoon.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Well, Indiana is taking some steps to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Still ahead here on Good Morning Indiana, how a new program is working to let you know if you've been exposed. We'll be right back.
Work weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
This morning, calls from the community grow louder, demanding more transparency from Metro Police.
I'm infuriated by this because I feel like this happened to my son or my brother.
Working for you, we're detailing Mayor Hogshead's plan to restore trust in the department. Plus,
kind of was no surprise, but also still a shock because I was like, wow, I was really sick.
Yeah. And
a Central Indiana woman goes 7 weeks without knowing she had the coronavirus. Working for you, we're looking at the test that is now giving her the diagnosis she needed. But before we get to our top stories here on our Tuesday, it's 5:30. We want to thank you for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Glosson, social distancing and working from home again today with a check of our forecast. And Todd, we just are hoping things warm up a little bit today.
You know, it's been this long stretch of below normal temperatures, Lauren, really since we had that 182-degree day back in the beginning of the month on May 2nd. It's been below normal ever since. And this morning we're dealing with temperatures in the 30s and 40s. And we also have a frost advisory that's in place. 37 right now in Indy. This frost advisory in place for almost all of central Indiana. Just a couple counties off to the south and to the southwest that are not included. But everybody, as you saw on that temperature map, is in the 30s here this morning. So skies have cleared, and that's one of the reasons why we've cooled down to where we are right now. But as we work our way throughout the course of the day, we'll kind of build in some cloud cover. We'll toggle back and forth between partly to mostly cloudy skies. But the winds won't be an issue for us during the day today. And temperature-wise, with the added sunshine and a little more of a southerly component to that light wind, we are going to see temperatures get up to 60 degrees. It's a step in the right direction, Lauren. Eventually, by the end of the week, though, we are into the 70s. More on that forecast coming up for you in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a look right now at your commute right now over on the west side. This is I-465, a view near West 10th Street where traffic is picking up. As you can see by all the headlights there, moving northbound and southbound on the interstate. Everything's traveling up to speed. We'll keep you updated if there are any slowdowns in your Tuesday commute. New from overnight, 2 people are dead. Another is in critical condition after a stabbing on the city's west side. The situation started around 9:45 last night at the Carriage House West Apartments near 16th and Lyndhurst. When officers arrived, they found 3 people suffering from what appeared to be stab or puncture wounds. An adult woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Another adult woman and a man were taken to the hospital. The man later died. The second female remains in critical condition this morning. Police say that 2 witnesses were detained for questioning, and we are waiting to learn more about what led to this incident as well as the victims' identities. Today, IMPD and Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogshead will talk about police reform in our city. The mayor's office says the update is in response to the calls from the community. This comes less than a week after 2 deadly shootings involving IMPD. Officers shot and killed a 19-year-old man early Thursday morning in what investigators believe may have been a planned ambush. And on Wednesday, an officer shot and killed 21-year-old Sean Reed after a chase. Demonstrations were held several days after the shooting, calling for justice. IMPD Chief Randall Taylor responded in a press conference that next day, promising transparency.
I'm infuriated by this because I feel like this happened to my son or my brother. You know what I mean? So I'm so steamed. I couldn't sleep last night. I have the right to be a dumb kid and make a stupid decision without dying.
We need answers. We need answers.
I can promise you that we'll run a fair investigation. I'm always willing to listen to family members and their concern. I don't have all the answers right now. I hope to get them as the investigation goes, but I can promise the community that we will be transparent.
Today's update will not give specific updates on these cases, but will focus on the ongoing policing reforms. It's scheduled to begin at 10:30. We will live stream that on the RTV6 app and also on our Facebook page. Moving now to the latest information on the coronavirus pandemic in Indiana. Governor Eric Holcomb is scaling back his daily coronavirus briefings as life and business in the Hoosier State is beginning to move closer to normal. Holcomb announcing yesterday the briefings will now be done Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. He said while his team is still working daily behind the scenes, the goal is to provide Hoosiers with substantive updates and significant news that needs to be shared. That plan, of course, could change.
Now, having said that, if there is significant news that needs to be shared before Wednesday of this week, we'll call an audible and we'll be here tomorrow at 2:30. Same thing on Thursday. Same thing on Saturday or Sunday for that matter.
Holcomb also said the task force will continue meeting on a regular basis and posting updates daily. You can find that information on coronavirus.in.gov. We do have a link to that site on our website, theindychannel.com, and on the RTV6 app. We want to take a closer look at the numbers right now. The State Department of Health reporting 511 new COVID-19 cases on Monday. There are now more than 24,000 positive coronavirus cases in our state. 32 additional deaths were also reported, meaning 1,411 Hoosiers have now died from COVID-19. 146,688 Hoosiers have been tested for the virus to date. That's about a 17% positivity rate of those being tested. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Bach said the increase in testing also means increased contact tracing. That's going to allow the state to respond more quickly to outbreaks and allow Hoosiers to know if they've been exposed to COVID-19.
It's how we help you protect your loved ones, the ones that you work with, your neighbors, and other individuals that I know you don't want to also become ill with this disease.
A state vendor has already hired 325 people to work as contact tracers, with 500 expected to be on the job by the end of the month. So far, 285 people from 21 counties who've tested positive for COVID-19 have been identified, and contact tracing for those individuals is now underway. Dr. Bach says privacy of the diagnosed patients will be protected and no personal information will be shared with others. As we continue to navigate our way through this pandemic, we've learned that symptoms and recovery time can be different for everyone. This morning, we now know that not all test results seem to be completely accurate. Our own Kelsey Anderson spoke to one woman who found out that she had the coronavirus over a month after her recovery. Kelsey.
Jenny LeBaum is a mother, wife, and professional. She was living her normal everyday life like most of us before social distancing and this pandemic hit Indiana. But now she is filled with shock and guilt, knowing that she had the virus before and she didn't even know it.
I actually thought I had the flu.
Towards the beginning of March, Jenny LeBaum thought she had the flu, chills, body aches, and fatigue.
I went to the doctor to get a flu test, which was negative, but I felt better. So I was moving around just the way any of us would. There was no quarantining back then. And then I got worse.
A week later, she says she felt awful and called her doctor, who after chest x-rays found she had pneumonia and eventually admitted her to the hospital.
At the time, I was more worried about catching the coronavirus in the hospital because I didn't think I had it. I just thought I had a rogue flu bug.
While in the hospital, she was tested for COVID-19, but she didn't get the results until after she was discharged.
One of the results came back for my nose, and that was negative. And then the throat swab took even longer. It was almost 10 days after they swabbed me that I got that result, and that was unspecified.
LeBaum tells me her doctor had a feeling she had the virus despite her inconclusive results. So once the antibody testing became available here in Indiana, her doctor ordered one.
And it was positive, which kind of was no surprise, but also still a shock because I was like, wow, I was really sick.
Her family also did the antibody test and to their surprise came back negative.
They were around me the entire time. We were touching the same doorknobs in the house.
7.5 weeks after she was sick, riddled with guilt that she may have passed the virus to someone she knows, LeBaum is sending emails to anyone she was in contact with.
I thought, oh my gosh, who did I expose? My doctor said it was too late to do contact tracing, but I have sent emails to anyone I was around the week before I got sick and the week I was sick, just to let them know, because I feel like it's the honorable thing to do.
She says once she gets the proper paperwork, she does plan on donating plasma so she can help other people fight off this virus. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:38. Restaurants are reopening for dine-in service across the state of Indiana this week as part of Governor Holcomb's Stage 2 reopening of the economy. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live this morning at a restaurant in Canby that welcomed customers for the first time last night. Alyssa, good morning.
Good morning, Lauren. So for the first time in 2 months, customers were able to come sit and stay a while here at Heavy's Bar and Grill in Canby. And the owner tells us the timing of this couldn't wait. He's grateful that they were able to reopen as soon as they did. He says if they waited any longer, he would have had some issues. The place was filled with regulars last night as the restaurant opened under the governor's Stage 2 phase. Some restrictions are still in place. The dining room only half full, and the tables measured exactly 6 feet apart to keep safe social distance. Restaurant staff are also still gearing up, wearing masks and gloves. Customers are not required to do the same. We spoke with one of the owners about the reopening, and he says he was so glad to see tables filling up again, and it is now counting on the community to help the business recover.
If this would have continued on till July, I don't know if we would have made it till July. We would have tried our best. We would have fought tooth and nail. That's one of my mom's biggest things. She'd never give up until the very end. But we're just happy to be open, and to see everybody is the main thing.
And like many restaurants, Heavy's Bar and Grill struggled during the 2-month closure, still providing takeout, but taking a major loss in sales. And the restaurant will continue to provide to-go service to those customers who maybe aren't quite comfortable with dine-in service yet. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Regardless it's a union job, and regardless that it's good money and stuff, it's not worth my life.
A man who works at a meatpacking plant in central Indiana says he's not going back on the job just yet. The Tyson plant in Logansport closed at the end of April after hundreds of employees tested positive for the coronavirus. It reopened last week with reassurances from the state and the company that safety measures are in place. But Gary Whitehouse, a plant employee, tells us he doesn't think any of that will do any good if the stations are set up like they were before the closure. That's why he's decided he's not going back to work.
I wasn't going to take a chance at getting it, and even if I don't catch it and I'm just a carrier, I'm making them all, capable of catching it, and I couldn't do it. The ones that get affected the worst are the elderly and the children. Well, I'm around elderly people, I'm around children every day, and I'm going to be 50 next year, so it's not worth it.
Well, Tyson's new safety measures include screening workers for COVID-19 symptoms, enforcing social distancing, and requiring workers to use surgical-style face coverings. It is 5:41. It is time for our Takeout Tuesday forecast and some ideas of what you can eat today with Todd Clausen, my favorite part of the week. Todd.
Yeah, Lauren, we had to stay in Marion County now that things are starting to open up here across the rest of the state. So we're going to take you to South Broad Ripple and to Delicia, where they serve Latin cuisine from the Americas, the Caribbean, and Spain. It's located at 5215 in North College, and they're doing carry-out. They'll bring it right out to your car Tuesday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., then on Friday and Saturday till 8:30. My top takes, the empanada, the pork carnita tacos. And one of the things I like about Delicia and what they're doing is you can either get a single order of the tacos or whatever they're serving, or you can get family meals, which is up to, I believe 10 tacos. So you'll have your options to pick from there. So go support Delicia if you live in Marion County or in that area, or any of the other local restaurants that aren't quite fully open yet or 50% open. Today's forecast, partly sunny skies, below normal still, but heading in the right direction with a high temperature of 60 degrees. We'll talk more about the extended forecast for you coming up, Lauren, in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Time is running out to submit your direct deposit information for your stimulus check. Coming up, we'll show you the process to set it up. Plus, get ready to play ball when baseball officials say your favorite team could soon take to the field. It's 5:43 on your Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Brand power, helping you buy better.
It's 5:46 this morning. Twitter says it's launching a new initiative to stop misinformation about the coronavirus. It will start telling users when a tweet makes a disputed or misleading claim. It will appear as a label, and some will include links to additional information about COVID-19. Twitter says it will only delete the post if they decide it's harmful. The head of Twitter's site Integrity says they likely won't be able to catch every tweet violating the new policy, so you should still fact-check information. If you want your stimulus check in your bank account instead of the mail, you have one more day to update your information. The IRS says use the Get My Payment tool on its website, and there you can submit your direct deposit information until noon tomorrow. After that, the agency will start sending files to the Bureau of Financial Services to prepare paper checks. People can expect to get them in the mail starting later this month and into June. Once the process of sending a paper check has started, the government cannot give direct deposits. It is 5:47 on our Tuesday. Let's toss things over to Todd and get a look at our temperatures today. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Lauren, temperatures today still going to be below normal. I've been sounding like a broken record, I know, but eventually we will start to see our temperatures get back above normal. We just have to wait till Thursday for that to happen. Our average high is 72. And you notice at least on this chart or graph, we are trending in the right direction. With that said, if you haven't walked out the door yet this morning, you may want to wait a little while as it is pretty chilly out there. Frost advisory is in place across almost all of central Indiana. And look at these temperatures down to 32 in Greencastle, 33 in Crawfordsville, Indy at 37 degrees, Bloomington at 35, as is Muncie, Greenfield, and Peru. So we cleared out the skies. That's one of the reasons why we've dropped down to where we are temperature-wise this morning. But you do notice a little more in the way of cloud cover here starting to build in, and we'll kind of toggle back and forth today between partly to mostly cloudy skies. The good news is, thankfully, this rainfall is going to head down to the south. We do not have to worry about that making its way into central Indiana during the day today. So we have a dry day for you. We have a day that's a little warmer than yesterday, about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, but still not quite up to where we should be for this time of year, which is at 72 degrees. But highs today generally right around 60 degrees. Now, overnight tonight, it's not as cold as it has been the past couple nights. We're in the 40s for the most part, a couple upper 30s out there, but we shouldn't have to worry about a frost or freeze to start off your Wednesday. And then Wednesday, temperatures very similar to today, generally right around 60 degrees with increasing clouds, though, tomorrow. And eventually by tomorrow evening, there could be a few spotty showers that try to sneak into parts of the area. But once we get to Thursday, the warm air will surge in here, and that's when we'll start to bring in more in the way of shower activity. It's pretty scattered in nature until Friday. Friday looks like a day that could potentially be fairly wet for us here across the area. The good news is it'll be fairly mild. So as you look at your 7-day planning forecast, the one thing that jumps out to you will be the temperatures will be in the 70s starting Thursday all the way through Monday, but also rain chances in the forecast each and every day. There will be plenty of opportunity to get out and about to enjoy the warmer temperatures, Lauren. The exception Friday, looks like the showers could be pretty numerous. Might be a little tougher to time out that walk through the neighborhood.
All right, good to know, Todd. Thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the road. South side, I-65 near Edgewood Avenue. This is south of 465 in the interchange there. Traffic is moving along up to speed northbound and southbound. Right now, no crashes or delays to slow down your Tuesday commute. Wearing a face mask can take some getting used to, especially when you're exercising outdoors. So what happens when gyms reopen? Some may require members to wear facial coverings depending on social distancing rules. Experts say it's generally okay for a healthy person to wear a mask while exercising, but you'll want to be aware of the kind of mask and how it makes you feel. They say people with underlying respiratory conditions and people new to working out should not wear facial coverings. They may want to stick with those home workouts while mask requirements are in place. Major League Baseball could be the first American team sport to return, but with a twist. The season was supposed to start back in March, but it was delayed because of the coronavirus. On Monday, team owners approved a proposal by Commissioner Rob Manfred to start the season in July. Spring training would begin early to mid-June. Games would be played in home stadiums without without fans in the stands. The season would consist of 82 games, about half the traditional 162. The Players Association still has to agree to those terms. MLB spokesperson says the proposal will be presented to the Players Association today. A trip to Hendricks County restaurant could take you back in time. Just after the break, We're Open Indy looks at how the Mayberry Cafe is social distancing while keeping their old-time charm. We'll be right back.
TV.com.
Well, restaurants all over the Hoosier State are starting to welcome customers back into their dining rooms, but not without some big adjustments. Our Brad Brown visited one of Hendricks County's favorite spots for a closer look.
In the heart of Hendricks County is the Courthouse Square in Danville. Businesses around here are gradually coming to life as the state's phases continue to progress. At the Mayberry Cafe, they've been doing carryout for several weeks. Today, they're back to welcoming customers inside.
We felt a lot of love here, yeah. A lot of people came in, they were just trying to help us out and try and get us through this, and we really appreciate all that.
For 30 years, the Mayberry has been serving up plates full of nostalgia. But for the past couple of months, something had been missing.
The personal contact's been hard. Like I made a comment about just hugs. So your nature is to hug somebody, whether it's a shoulder hug or people you haven't seen in a while. So that part's been hard, and not seeing the faces that we're used to seeing as frequently.
The tables are a bit more spread out. The booths, they'll use every other one. Masks for the staff as well.
It's definitely a reset. I was just sharing with the lady that we bought masks from. I said it's kind of like learning our business all over again because there's new parameters.
Danville city officials have let the Mayberry set some tables up outside. Same for some other businesses. More options to keep their customers spread out.
Everybody seems to be pretty upbeat. Everybody's helping each other out.
Otherwise, they're ready to get back to this new level of normal.
There's been, I think, a real community support, and people come together. I don't know if it's American way or what, but I see a lot of people coming together and standing by each other.
Christine says things are a little slow to get going here this first day of the week. They suspect business will pick up toward Friday and Saturday. They've been doing some more business dinner and weekends over the past few weeks anyway. Much will probably be the same for restaurants all over the area and eventually within Marion County as they start to reopen. And we see the process of these restaurants start to take steps forward going forward. Working for you in Hendricks County, Brad Brown, RTV6.
All right, Brad, thanks so much. Okay, Todd, I am looking forward to maybe going out to a restaurant and sitting outside on a patio and enjoying a meal. Are we going to be able to do that sometime soon?
Hey, I'm right there with you, Lauren. Maybe we'll go for lunch once everything reopens here after the noon show someday. And yeah, I think we'll get there, at least temperature-wise, by the end of the week. We're in the 70s. The trade-off is going to be some rain. This morning, though, there's still a very big chill in the air. We're only in the 30s in most locations, 35 in Bloomington, 34 in Kokomo throughout the day today. Slightly warmer temperatures than yesterday with more in the way of sunshine, but still below normal. But overall, it's a decent day. We'll talk more about the warmth in the 70s heading our way in the next hour of Good Morning Indiana when Raphael joins Lauren and I. The time now is 5:57. We'll see you in just a few minutes.